And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go from inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. There at Great Lakes Honda City, you will find all that you need in a vast array of vehicles of all different shapes and sizes, from the Civic and the Accord, the HRV, the CRV, the Pilot, and more, the Ridgeline, and so on and so forth. You will find this over at, while supplies last, over at Great Lakes Honda City. We look forward to seeing you over there on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday weekly. Find your way over to Great Lakes Honda City today and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way. We appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We're bringing you fantastic guests today and this morning, as you know, on a Wednesday during Dolphin Time. Every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we have Dolphin Time, proudly presented by the Moyne College Dolphins inside our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. And today's focus is on the Moyne Dolphins softball team as they embark on their 2025 season. And they will start that season by heading south to the great state of North Carolina, where they will ironically play the team that's right down the street, Syracuse University, a couple times there in North Carolina. They'll find themselves in North and South Carolina as well as Texas before returning back to Central New York later on here after they start off their campaign in 2025. And I am honored and I am privileged on the broadcast to have amazing guests joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So in just a moment, you're going to have the opportunity to hear from Moyne softball and from veterans on this team. And so we're going to hear from Dom as well as Elaina and Alyssa joining me from Moyne Dolphin softball, telling their individual stories as well as the overarching story of the team. They'll talk about one another as well as their head coach, Tracy Roman, in an unforgettable conversation that touches your heart, makes you laugh, and also lets you know who these Dolphins truly are. I have appreciated over the years covering this softball team as well as all the programs at Moyne College, and so I am truly honored and privileged for the opportunity to get to speak with the Dolphins, student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni, and I cannot wait to share this conversation with you. So we're going to do exactly that right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Dolphins up first with the Moyne softball team, and from there, in hour number 2, Dave Pasiak, longtime basketball coach and analyst, will join me to talk about a trade that shook the NBA. Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis swapping places. Luka, 25 years old, leaving the place where he's the face of the franchise, the Dallas Mavericks, to go to the Los Angeles Lakers and potentially help out LeBron James for another run with LeBron at 40 years old, and Anthony Davis having a new home with the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get into that, potential trades to come, and more with Dave Pasiak in hour number 2 here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So buckle up for a fantastic special with the Dolphins of Moyne softball coming up right after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpazpopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpazpopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
To an all-new edition of the Dolphin Dive here exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins. Hard to believe that it has been over 3 years, but time flies and it's been easy for me to say fins up. So I'm here today with the softball program and I'm going to have these wonderful student athletes introduce themselves and we're going to have our conversation this morning. So I'll start right to my left.
I'm Dominique Rinaldi.
I'm Elaina.
I'm Alyssa.
So for Dominique, Elaina, and Alyssa, we are here to bring you this very special jump into the season for, it's cold outside right now, but you guys are heading down south and you're going to have some time in North Carolina and we got to do this obviously ahead of that. So Dominique, I'll start with you, just what it's like to see this weather, see the consistent snow pretty much every day for weeks, 7 degrees outside, and to know that you're going to be back in the swing of things literally for softball down in North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, we're all excited. I know we're looking at the weather for next week down there and it's saying like 60s, 50s, so that's better than we'll probably ever get here. So we're super excited to be in the warm. And then come back and be cold.
But when you look at, I mean, why Lemoyne? Because you know you love softball. You also know that the weather during this time of year can be treacherous, so why play in that type of element?
I feel like for me, like back in the recruiting process, it was really just the team dynamic. Like, I remember meeting everyone who was on Zoom because of COVID, but you could tell that like everyone was super close. It was just a good vibe with the team. So I didn't really think about the weather, if I'm being honest. I did not know it would snow this much. Everyone said it would be super cold, but I think this year it snowed the most out of the 4 years.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, how it normally is, because I'm a Central New York native, is if you get 2 good winners, you are guaranteed a bad one.
Yeah.
So this is the bad one.
Yeah.
Elaina, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited for North Carolina. I think obviously it's our first time getting out on dirt and it's always a bit of trial and error, but you can never really see what you need to work on and your projection for the season until you go out and play. So that's really exciting.
For you, did you anticipate having weather like this when you look at your field and it's just like a sheet of
completely white of snow? Yeah, kind of the same. Dom and I are both from Long Island, so we didn't really know Central New York weather.
Yeah.
But
you guys get cold, you don't get snow.
right, yes, exactly. So definitely is a bit of a surprise, but we talk about here, you can't control the weather. We have a very close team and we're all go hard and go all in, so we just gotta work through it together.
Yeah, I agree with that. Alyssa, how are you?
I'm excited for our trip, get the season rolling, kind of work out and figure out the things we need to work on. So yeah.
For you, is this normal, these elements?
Yeah, I'm from Baldwinsville, so.
Yeah, so like you, and forgive me for not knowing that ahead of time, but being from Beeville, what's kept you here?
I wanted to stay close to home, and I just love like the community here. I feel like everyone's so close, and the relationships are really good.
So you like that you're close to home?
Yeah,
You
I
like
do.
that, like
Yeah.
families right here
Mhm.
and all that. Do they come out and do they bear the cold with people like me?
Yeah, my parents come to almost every game, so.
So, I mean, being from Beeville, I do a lot of work with the Bees and love hanging out with them. Why are you so proud to have that kind of history with you to be a Baldwinsville Bee?
I feel like in high school and stuff, I had a lot of great coaches who kind of pushed me to do well and also like built good relationships with me and wanted me to do good, so.
So do the coaches ever come out?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to put out.
Yeah.
Y'all better get out to these games this year. So so we have Central New York and we have Long Island. I learned something about Long Island a few years ago. Time kind of flies, but I dated somebody that was from Long Island, and it didn't work out for many reasons. However, she said you can't be in, you have to be on Long Island.
Yeah.
So I had to learn the on Long Island, and every time I say a sentence, I stop myself, I pause in the middle, and I make sure to say on, because if you say in around a Long Islander, they look at you.
It just sounds weird. I feel like it just doesn't flow as well.
Yeah, on Long Island.
It's always just been on my head.
So I'm a bagel person. I want to know the best place, because I know what I get, and I know I try to find a spot every time I'm in a certain part of Long Island area or just New York City in general. So Dominique, I'll start with you. What's the spot?
For like, I just go in my town. I feel like every town has like their bagel spot, but ours is Hot Bagels,
Okay.
and it's like
What's your town?
Sable.
Okay. Sable?
Mhm.
Okay.
Egg everything.
That's what I get.
Yeah.
I'm closer to the city, so I'm from Nassau County, a town called Long Beach. There's a Max Bialystok Bagels. They make the best bagels, and obviously egg everything is the best.
So, I mean, I guess I feel like I'm doing it right, because Egg Everything is the one that got me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, so they don't have, and you know this, Alyssa, we don't have like egg bagels up
Yeah,
here.
no.
So when I went down to New York City, I was like, what is that? They're like, well, that's an egg bagel. You got to try it. You don't have those up there? And I'm like, no. And then I saw the everything, and I said my two favorite bagels, like, essentially had a baby. And then I never get cream cheese anywhere, but when I'm on Long Island or in the New York City area, I get the walnut raisin.
Ooh.
That's the one I go with on the egg everything. So, Alyssa, I'm not going to leave you out of this. What's your favorite place to go for breakfast? There is a correct answer. There is a partner we have with Wake Up Call, and I have my own sandwich there. So I'm going to see if you say it. If you don't, I'm going to try to change your mind. What's your breakfast spot?
If I'm like staying in Beeville,
Yeah, you're around this area. Just, I mean, anywhere in Central New York.
I love to go to the Beeville Diner.
Okay, all right. I've been to the Beeville
Yeah.
Diner. A lot of good stuff there. The sweet cream pancakes are really good.
Yep.
But I'm going to say to you right down the road here from Moyne, you could like get there in maybe 5 minutes. Is my own sandwich at Mother's Cupboard.
Okay.
The Cuse McMother, which is bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast.
Ooh. Sounds good. We're gonna have to try that one.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to get out there for that. So now that we've talked about food and I'm hungry, let's get back to the field. So Alyssa, I'll start with you here. What is it about this season in 2025 and this makeup, this team, that you feel like you guys can make a push towards something really positive?
I feel like now we have a lot more like good additions to us that are gonna help us a lot. We're all just really excited. I think we have almost like the same goal and everyone wants to be here, so I think that's good. It'll help us a lot.
You said you feel like everybody has the same goal. Is it something that kind of was a work in progress because you guys are dealing with trying to build all these bonds together from people you don't know? You're trying to connect in a conference that's new, but you're also in this transition to Division I where it's not just the NEC, it's everything that's been new. So do you feel like that caused the transition to be maybe a little bit longer, or the process to be longer?
I mean, maybe, yeah, because we really didn't know what to expect, like being D1, but now we kind of do know what to expect, so I feel like that'll help us a lot.
What's been the biggest change for you when you see that D2 to D1?
I would just say the pitching has been a lot better, and no team, like, every team we play is going to be good, and they're going to have, like Don said before, 1 through 9 in the lineup is going to be able to hit.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about that off the air. Elaina, for you, looking at this season, what would be some words that would adequately describe how you feel this team culture is?
I feel like we're hungry. Like, we are ready to go onto the field and just play. Everyone is like aligned, and we all want to get to the conference championship, and we're all so excited to be here and are ready to put in the work.
When you see that excitement, and you said hungry was the word that you went with, how do you see that on a daily basis?
We have a team that really loves to work and put in that extra time. So you can come down here to the athletic center, and 9 times out of 10 you'll see a group of girls from our team putting the work in the cages, in the gym, stretching, recovery. We're all just really eager to put in that extra work, to go that extra mile to produce on the field.
Dominique, why do you feel like this team is willing to put in that extra work and that extra effort? Some people do the bare minimum, they kind of just get by, they try to skate with it. Why do you feel like this team is going to see wherever the line is and try and push past that line?
I think, especially like with the past years, like seeing how much progress we've made. Even last year, like NEC ranked us bottom, and we ended up, I think, we like jumped up a few slots, I guess, at the end of the season. So I think we all see and like we all know what we can get to. And Coach always says like, you're only as strong as your weakest link, which is so, like true in everything. So she says everyone needs to be putting in that extra work if we really want to all get to the goal that, you know, we all believe we can.
So if there is that weak link, how do you guys kind of get around each other to take care of that link? Because if you are only as strong as your weakest link, when you see kind of a hole in the armor, so to speak, how do you shore up that hole?
I feel like it's more like, because that could just be like mentally, like if you see someone's just like not checked in that day or focused, or something maybe is off with them that day, just kind of like rallying all together. I know like energy is a big thing for us, especially our team. So just the vibes in practice, high energy, I feel like kind of gets everyone in that mindset. And like they want to, like I always want to go hit with people after if they ask, or like getting everyone included kind of.
I have been around this team over the years, and I have been around and listened to the excitement and the energy in a game itself. Who is the person in the dugout that, in your opinion, and I'll start with you, Dominique, is the loudest, the one that's going to lose their voice?
It's her.
Like, besides Lainey's, right, like she's loud. Ariana, sometimes I think she even like, whoa.
Yeah. Because over the years, I've heard some things. Sometimes I laugh.
Yeah.
Like there's certain things that you guys will try and mess with each other. Like
Yeah.
there's certain, and the thing that I like is, and I said this to Coach before, that there's teams that when they're trying to get at you, instead of like just yelling loud or whatever, they'll, you know, sometimes teams are mean, right? And they'll say things to try and get you off your game, but in a negative way. When you guys are trying to get in the head of another team, you're just like super positive and loud. I don't really hear negativity come out of the dugout.
Like it's almost like I know we're annoying because we all hear ourselves, but it's more of like it's for us.
Yeah.
And if it makes the other pitcher like.
Because our main goal is to encourage whoever's up to bat, whoever's pitching now. I never feel the need to degrade another player on the other team. Like we're all here to play softball. It's supposed to be a good environment. Sportsmanship is the biggest thing, I think, at this level.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. Alyssa, you want to add?
I feel like, yeah, when we're cheering and stuff like that and kind of having fun with it, it allows us to play more loosely, I feel, not so tense, so as long as we're having fun with it.
Yeah, and like I said, I love it, but I did pick up the fact as I'm listening to the team that's playing you and I'm listening to you guys, and I'm like, they're loud, but they're like, it's all good things. you guys aren't saying anything where I'm sitting here like, that's not how it goes.
Or we're making fun of each other.
Yeah.
Like we'll make fun of each other in a loud way.
And I feel like there has been moments where I'm just like, I mean, it looks like you're having fun. It looks like you're enjoying it. And it's been whether you've been up or down. I mean, I've seen games, and I forget exactly who you were playing, but it was before the shift to Division I, so it was still Division II, and it was in the NEC. But there was a matchup here, and the game was wild. Like, they had scored something like 11 runs, and then you guys came back and scored more than that. And I remember looking, that was the game when it was 31 degrees outside.
I think it wasn't it Southern Connecticut?
Yeah, so.
It might have been.
Was it a walk-off game?
I think because it was like it went on for, it was like there was nothing, then there was a ton of scoring.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
I think we
okay,
got
what's
beat
gonna
down in like the first inning. Where like they scored a lot and then we were able to like
And I'm just watching this game like, this is insane. And like that was one of the games that really stuck out and was memorable to me because you guys didn't give up. I mean, it would have been easy to be like, this is the scoreboard. I want to say, and I could be totally wrong, but I want to say it was like 11-1, and there was like a shift.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty big deficit like that.
Yeah. And then it was just a totally different game. But I mean, what is it about this team that just has no quit? And Elaina, what do you?
Again, I think it just comes from how much we're all like eager to play and the support we have for each other. And Dom said in her recruitment process, and the same goes for me, like when I chose to come here, it was mainly because of the team and the environment we're in. When you're surrounded by a bunch of people who just want to keep going at it and won't give up, it encourages you. Like you can't be the one to like lose that spirit. So just the drive from your teammates.
We don't have LB anymore, Miss Laura Bennett. So Alyssa, I'm going to go to you for this. I mean, she would be the pitcher for the day, and then she'd be the pitcher that was asked to come in, and then she'd be the pitcher that's not supposed to be in, and she's going in again. I mean, she was constantly, and through injury and adversity, there was so much leaning on her. What does the team have now that LB, we couldn't get her like an 8th year of eligibility?
I feel like we have a lot of pitchers that we're able to throw into the mix, and we have Ariana from last year, which I think will help us a lot. And, yeah.
Is there, I know that we talked off the air about having a young staff, is there something about this staff that you feel like the versatility of it, I mean, is there something about them that you can kind of identify and say, this is how they make me feel, like this is how I think it is to hit against them?
Yeah, I feel like they're all work well together, and they have like a lot of different things they could throw us and a lot of different ways we can attack different lineups. Like they're all different towards that, and they have different ways that they can attack teams. So we kind of keep teams kind of unsteady a little bit because they don't know what to expect.
To stay with you for a second on this, what about your game has improved the most from last season to this season? Where have you seen yourself personally? Like, see, even if it's something intricate, if it's something small that maybe people can't see, what is that thing for you?
I guess having like a different mindset and kind of like taking these preseason games as ways to like work through things more instead of getting upset. And if I'm not getting the result I kind of want just yet, just kind of working through that and keeping in mind like it'll take some time to get there, but.
It's smart to look at the preseason, like you said, and instead of being so hard on yourself to say, like, I'm going to use the preseason for what a preseason's for, which I think a lot of athletes, even professional athletes, don't think that way, is like, let me work the kinks out because I'm going against somebody that's not my jersey. So, Elaina, for you, what's been your biggest step forward?
I think very similar. Mental resilience has just been a constant growth progress because you come in as a freshman, being like the best on your team, and you're surrounded by a whole team now of those individuals, and just being able to flush bad games, bad outings, pass balls, and being able to come back and execute. I think that is
All right, so that mental fortitude, what about you, Dominique?
Yeah, I think kind of like to go off of them is like being able to execute when like right after making an error in the field or like a bad at bat, just being able to stay present but also like stay up, stay high, and not let it be seen from the outside.
We do a thing on my show called Tell Me Something Good. I'll start with you, Dominique. Tell me something good about Coach Roman.
I feel like she's
She
resilient.
back here? She is. I just saw a hand.
Like she has everyone's back on the team no matter what. Like she would run through a wall for any of our players, even if we're in the wrong. But like she has our back no matter what.
Yeah, and the thing is she, and I've known Tracy for many years now, she's such a nice person and a kind-hearted person and just a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to a game and you see her face, and that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, she's a dog, but she's like your dog.
Yeah.
Like she's got your back, so to
Exactly.
speak. What would you say about Coach Elaina?
Yeah, I definitely think she is a great person, and I think that she really knows how to get a team on the same page and really like cultivate an amazing culture. Like if you look at anyone on our team, the first thing they say is like, "I love the culture of this team." That's really impressive.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I totally agree with it, Alyssa.
I would say she deeply cares about us. Like you can actually tell that she really cares about us, and like she knows us very well. Like any of us, if you walk into practice one day and something's wrong, she's gonna ask what's wrong, and she can pick up on that, and she can tell when something's wrong. So.
Well, and that's amazing to have. All of those things are speaking to the person, right? Because we talk about, and it pains me for this. I'm happy that there's NIL in the case of that student athletes can get something from the NCAA that has something, right? But you see a lot of it go to basketball, you see a lot of it go to football, and you want to see it, be in every area. At the same time, the transfer portal in NIL has kind of taught student athletes to not have a team, to be about themselves, to be individualistic, and to like kind of run away from competition. So when you come to a place like Moyne and there's an emphasis on education, there's an emphasis on culture and on actually building a family, I feel like, yes, we're D1, but we're not like the rest of the world's D1 in a good way. And Alyssa, I want to go back to you for that. Does it feel like Moyne is kind of in its own space as this chaotic world of collegiate athletics is happening? Do you feel like there's still a purity to athletics here?
I think so, yeah. Just like, even when you're walking around the AC, everyone's always saying hi, asking how you're doing and whatnot. I feel like,
I definitely agree. I think the environment at Moyne, they really care about the student and the person before the athlete, and really want to make sure that you feel supported and know that everyone here, the administrative, all the coaches, they all have your back and want to see you thrive.
Dominique, for you, does it, when you see kind of everything going on in athletics, does it feel like, oh, I'm happy that I'm in this bubble, maybe?
Yeah, I think so 100%. Even especially when you were saying like the NCAA and NIL trying to like take away that team aspect, or like just putting yourself instead of like truly wanting to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And I feel like coming to Moyne was like, that's the best part about the space, is like community. So
I love hearing that. And before we get into rapid fire, I do want to take a look at the fact that there has been change here. Amidst going from D2 to D1, you have Bob Beretta as the leader of athletics, and then you have interim athletic director Mike Lindbergh, and now you have Phil Brown. So Dominique, for you, what has been that leadership transition as a student athlete for you?
I mean, I feel like it kind of goes like you have to be able to adapt to change, and I feel like with us, like Bob came in, what was it, our freshman year, he was like, that was his first year there, so like we knew that the people before had a different athletic director, so I think constantly just being able to go through the change and you're meeting new people, so I think it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, Elaina, for you, you were nodding your head when I was going through that kind of process. What's that been like for you?
I think it's been definitely interesting to see different leadership styles and environments change, but I think every person that came really accepted the Moyne ideology and just cultivated great environments.
Alyssa, for you, because as we are going into this new leader of athletics, we're stepping into your season. So, I mean, Phil comes onto campus January 1, and here goes softball. So what's this transition been like?
Yeah, I think we've still incorporated some of the things we've done as an athletic department into this kind of semester, but I'm not really worried at all. We're just kind of there to get our job done.
And getting that job done, you guys will be down in North Carolina, and you'll also be in Texas, and you say South Carolina?
Yeah.
So the beauty of this is, and shout out to Tracy if she's back here listening, but shout out to Coach. She finds really nice places for you guys to go to. So Alyssa, what are you most excited about? North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas? You have to pick one.
I'm most excited for Texas. I've never been before, so I think that'll be fun.
I was just down in Texas, in Arlington, and Irving area, and then Las Colinas. So I haven't been to San Antonio, but I've been to Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth, Irving-ish area, and Houston. So I hope you enjoy San Antonio.
Thank you.
UTSA, I know their leadership over there, so I hope they are okay with me being a Dolphin that day. Elaina, what about you if you had to pick one of those three?
Probably Texas as well. I think
Okay.
it's the only spot that our team hasn't gone to together. And ready for some growth.
All right, Dominique, are you picking Texas?
Texas, even just for like the competition down there, I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And we're playing Houston, UTSA, and then Boise State.
No,
So,
Boise State's coming
yeah.
from Idaho. Awesome. So with that being said, we're going to play some rapid fire here with our Moyne Dolphins 2025 team as we get ready for this campaign coming in. And so we get to put each other on the hot seat. There is no preparation. There are no questions. You can check our pockets. There's nothing there. So Dominique, you get to ask me the first question. What is your question for me?
Do you have a favorite team to work with?
Here? Oh, go ahead and get me in trouble. So, I honestly, and this is not a political answer, I wanted to, when I knew Gina Castelli, and I mean, I have to say I'm still friends with Gina, and when she was here with the women's basketball team, and there was a changing of the guard to Mary Grimes, I came to Mary's press conference, and Gina said, I want you to meet Bob Beretta. And I had kind of toyed with this idea of having this plan with colleges and universities called a multimedia marketing partnership. And I really wanted to create this new thing in my business that I could literally take and use anywhere. Use it in Texas, use it here, anywhere in the world. And I shook his hand, I talked to him for a second, I looked him in the eye, and something inside of me said, you better have that plan ready. And we met, and Moyne was the first partner I've ever had to this degree. We made history with the college. They've never had a multimedia marketing partner like this. I've never done it with my company. And so to pick a team, it's hard because honestly, and I'm not saying this because y'all are sitting here with me, I really have learned something from every student athlete. And the cool thing about here, and like we talked about the family, is that I didn't go to Lemoyne, my dad did, but I feel a part of the Finn family. And after we do interviews like this, and then I see y'all, if I come out to the game, like you'll smile, you'll wave. And like that warms my heart because when you get to know people on a team, yeah, I want you to win, but now that I know like the three of you, I'm gonna like see you out there and I'm gonna be a little more fiery, I'm gonna be a little louder, and watch you win a little bit more. So, I mean, because you guys were at the game yesterday for women's basketball, and I said to Coach DePillo, I was like, when that travel wasn't called, did you hear me? Because I yelled before you yelled. So, I mean, I definitely, I love the relationship, so I don't know if I could pick the team. So, but I would say that, you know, Tracy has definitely, she got me this gear, so
Yeah,
she hooked me
that's
up with
nice.
some stuff. So I was like, I got something with fins on it because I like the shortened version. So
Yeah.
you guys got some good gear. Dominique, my question back to you, if you were running for president and one of your teammates had to be your vice president, what teammate would you pick to be your running mate, and what would be your campaign slogan?
Oh wow.
I'm gonna choose Neve.
Okay. Why?
And you just have to meet her.
Okay.
There's no one like her. She's amazing. Our campaign slogan?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is hard. This is
I mean, I got one. I mean, egg everything or bust would be my slogan.
everything or bust.
That would be mine. But I mean, if you had to have an actual, like you're running for president, a short thing, like just a 3-4 word, this is who we are. there's something Coach said.
What did you just say?
Sit him down.
Sit him down. Nate's got like this swag. So he's
Okay.
got like swag, lad, but it's like
A little bit of fun.
fiery,
Yeah.
you know, like
Okay.
type thing. I don't know. Maybe like Nene, Dom, Nene, Cray Cray.
Okay. All right. Because we need. Yeah, I like that.
That's
We need to make America crazier. So. All right, Elaina, what's your question for me?
What drove you to like come to Moyne first, or like college athletics over like professional youth?
I kind of just, I mean, I have a strong faith in God, and I trust it, and there was just something inside of me that, like I said, kind of was like thinking of this plan, and then it was just, what do you want it to look like? I love to create, so if I create something, and then somebody's like, I pick up what you're putting down, and they take it, or like, yeah, let's do this, I want to do the next thing. It's not that I don't appreciate what I have, but I love to create, and I love to be original. So, because they say imitation is the highest form of flattery, but I also feel like it's like kind of being a jerk when you imitate somebody, like come up with your own stuff. So for me, I don't know, like I know what it's like to come from this community, and I mean I was born 12, I was 12 minutes away from here growing up, and born at a community hospital, which is now, I think it's upstate community or something like that. But student athletes here didn't always get the love. They didn't always get the spotlight. And I, unlike a lot of news outlets, did not cover women's athletics because I was forced to. So like nowadays you see like women's athletics is everywhere, and I don't know how you feel as women, but from my perspective, I'm like, are they covering you because they want to? Are they covering you because they're afraid if they don't? And because there's like this push, like you have to cover this, you have to cover that. When I started my career, I was told that we were going to do men's basketball, and I said, we're doing men's and women's, or I'm not doing it. And that was in 2003. So, like, covering softball, I mean, I've done stuff with field hockey, we've done bowling, I mean, anything and everything. And I don't know, I love the opportunity to cover my community, to take care of the people here, and to cover the sports and the people that should have a spotlight, and I don't see anybody else in the country doing a 20-30 minute interview with a softball team. So why not make history, and why not show the rest of the world that you guys deserve it and you should have it? And I don't do it if you win, I do it no matter what. Like, the newspapers come and the TV comes when y'all are winning. But when you are losing, are they talking to you? And to me, if we're telling your story and we're humanizing you and letting people know what you're about and what you eat and what you like, what makes you laugh, then I feel like they're going to come out and support you if you're 11-0 or 0-11. That's how I feel. My question back to you, Elaina, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that was great.
So my question back to you, okay, I like superpowers. So you get a superpower. What superpower are you going to give yourself? What city will you protect? And what villain would you like to face?
Oh, okay. I'll say my superpower would be to fly.
Okay, I would pick that too.
The city? Nashville.
Okay, why Nashville?
I love it there.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Okay.
And then...
I think Memphis needs more protection, but yes.
Okay, let's see fair.
Nashville, yeah.
And then, what villain would I want to fight?
Yeah, like you can pick a villain that exists in the comic book stuff. Those movies.
Maybe the Joker. I think he's crazy.
Yeah. All right, the Joker. I like it. That was the one I was thinking. It was telepathically sending it to
Perfect.
the Joker. All right, Alyssa, what do you got for me?
I guess, what kind of made you get into this field of work? Like, is there something that happened when you were younger and you were like, oh, that's like exactly what I want to do?
I love sports. I love telling stories. I have a photographic memory, so I collect cards, and like I was just like flipping cards and looking at the stats for a second, and I was taking all the information in. So I love challenging my brain. I love building relationships, making people laugh, bringing people together, and then I love the world of sports. And growing up, I played Played basketball. I played baseball for a little while. I played Little League, and I got hit right above my kidney. And I wasn't like into baseball as much. I wanted to pitch when I was a kid, and like I didn't get the chance to do that, so I'd like pitch in the backyard with my dad. But basketball I kind of leaned into, so I got into it for all the reasons like I said, but I also just, I don't know, to me it's like it's positive news. Like there's so much negative news out there that to me, like the sports world can be whatever you want it to be, and it keeps you young. Like it's funny when people say how old are you, I have to think, because when I'm around you guys, in my head, like I'm straight out of college and I'm ready to go. I don't really feel like, I'm kind of like my grandma's grandson in the sense of like she lived to be almost 101, but when she hit 70, like the next 30 years, nobody could tell how old she was because she just always stayed vibrant. She always stayed good energy. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm in it because I'm a storyteller, and I just want to show the world that there's more good in it than bad. And I just like being a big kid. I like running around. Like I was thinking about stuff like we should do a video one day where y'all pitch to me and see if I can hit anything. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like there'd be some cool stuff that we could do. So, I mean, now that I've put that out there, I need to hit at least one of them. My question back to you, Alyssa. Okay. All right. You can go anywhere in the world you've never been on a vacation. Where do you go? You can take only one person that you know, and you can take one celebrity.
Oh boy, okay. I feel like I'd want to go Hawaii.
Okay.
And one celebrity to take with me. I don't know, probably Aaron Judge, my favorite baseball player. And then what was the other question?
One person you know.
One person I know. Maybe Audrey.
Audrey? Okay, why Audrey?
We're great friends, and I feel like I just have a fun time with her.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm going to change it up a little bit here. I'm going to let y'all put each other on the hot seat to end this out. So we're going to go down the line and then swing back around as our final piece of this edition of the Dolphin Dive, exclusively on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Alyssa, you get to ask Elaina.
Oh boy. Let's see. I don't even know what I can ask you. I don't even know. I guess, what would you say?
Anything in the world.
Anything?
Anything. Any topic, any question.
But we linked up with
There you go. I guess. Where would you like to go in the world anyway? I guess we'll do that.
So what trip you would go on?
Yeah.
Probably Fiji. That'd
Okay.
be really cool. Or like Thailand.
Okay.
That'd be really cool.
So something warm, exotic,
Yes.
fun, clear water.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so you get to ask Dominique a question.
If you were to play one other sport, collegiately or professionally, what sport would it be? And why?
Probably basketball.
Okay.
Collegiately. I don't know. I mean, why? Just because I played in high school too. And I loved it. It was so fun.
Dominique, you get to ask Alyssa.
What's your favorite sweet treat?
My favorite sweet treat? Probably just ice cream.
What flavor?
Just the regular soft serve twist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do want to let you guys know this. So have you been to Carville DeWitt, right down the road? You haven't been there. It's like walking distance. But so from here, if you go right down to Carvel, there's something that I did for you guys. And I don't know any college or university, including in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Texas, that has this. You have your own sundae at Carvel DeWitt. It's called the DT Dolphin, for my initials. It is mint chocolate chip, hot fudge, whipped cream and a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of the whipped cream.
Oh, that's awesome.
So-
We're heading there right now. 10 a.m.
So that is for you all in the community, and of course for our Dolphins, and for Moyne College here in this softball program in the 2025 season for Dominique, Elaina, Alyssa, myself, Dan Tortora, and for all of the wonderful members of this softball team. We ask you to come out and see them compete, not just here in Syracuse, New York, but on the road as well. We hope for them a safe and blessed season, and I thank y'all for being here today.
Thank you so much
for having us.
Thank you. So from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Wake Up Call. This is your Dolphin Dive. We'll talk with you soon. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience, it's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios in Great Lakes Honda City, available to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, Monday through Saturday. You can get more information on their vast array of vehicles, new and used, by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. That's GreatLakesHondaCity.com. And, of course, let them know that DT sent you over their way. With that being said, I am honored and privileged to have the gentleman that has been with me for so many years on the broadcast. We call it DT and DP. The DP is Dave Pasiak, and obviously he has spent so much time in the world of basketball, longtime basketball head coach, an analyst, a lover of the game, first and foremost a fan of the game. And him and I, with you, witnessed one of the, in my opinion, strangest moments in NBA history, to have Luka Doncic, who is a 25-year-old superstar, face of a franchise, LeBron James, 40 years old, and he has Anthony Davis on his team. LeBron making another run, another quest for a title, hoping for good things of the Lakers. Luka, him and his team fighting for an NBA championship last season. So how this all came about, we're going to get into it. We're going to unpack it, as well as talk about what could happen from here and potential moves and the NBA overall. But before we do that, I must say welcome and good morning to my good friend, Mr. Pasiak. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. How you doing? It's been a minute.
I know. It's definitely been some time here. My college, and I was thinking about you through this, my college football season didn't end until January 21st. So, and it's continuing to go on post-college football playoff national championship as the schedules were released right after. We're going to be back in spring ball. Obviously, there's going to be pro days and the NFL draft and whatnot. So it's been interesting, Dave, because with the expansion of the college football playoff, even more so now, college football doesn't end until we're almost into conference tournaments for college basketball. It ends January 19th to the 21st, somewhere around that region. I think next season it ends on the 19th. This year it ended on the 20th. So by the time that ends, we have February, and then after the beginning of March, we're right in to tournament season. So what are your thoughts on this, being a longtime basketball coach at the collegiate level and in so many different places and in different iterations of college basketball from the NJCAA to the NCAA? What are your thoughts on the fact that college football, even more so now, has really become a 2-semester sport and finds itself almost to the end part of the regular season of college basketball?
Well, it's kind of like college football has sprawled on the college landscape, kind of the way the NFL has on a professional landscape, where you know, it's the NFL and then there's everything else, and then college football kind of on a smaller scale in the college landscape, same thing. I mean, with the playoff now, which I think on the whole is a good thing, long overdue. I think between recruiting and signing, and then now with the transfer portal, in a certain sense, college football never ends too, and it's kind of encroaching on college basketball and some other pieces of the sporting landscape for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is all blending together. Do you watch? I mean, I know that you prepare your seasons, you're with your team, you're doing your thing. Do you take in any college football or no?
I watched the playoffs, and I think the playoffs were intriguing, especially first time around and everything. I like kind of casual fan, like it's like you watch big moments, kind of pay attention to the playoffs. Get more. I think the one thing that with the college football playoffs, I think it has more the feel of a traditional sports playoff. What I mean by that is, like the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey, Stanley Cup playoffs, and I think college football follows this feel. Like the attention and the anticipation builds every round of the playoffs until you crown a champion. Yeah. I think March Madness is a little bit unique in that some will tell you that the first round is the best part of March Madness, where you see all the upsets and people you don't know about, and people that aren't even college basketball fans are doing a bracket, and then as your bracket goes in the toilet, like the college basketball fans, their anticipation and everything kind of increases. But I think for the more casual people that don't really pay attention to college basketball except for March Madness, like the first couple rounds are the best part of the tournament. So it's really kind of a sports anomaly in that, you can argue that it's the one event that doesn't have the same kind of round by round build that most traditional sports playoffs do.
Yeah, and now having a 12-team playoff, it brings, I got to experience it all the way through. So I was in the first round covering that in Pennsylvania for SMU at Penn State. Then I went to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl for the quarterfinal for Texas, Arizona State. Then I went to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, Texas at Cowboy Stadium at AT&T Stadium for Texas, Ohio State, and then back to Atlanta for the national championship. So I got to really see this and get a feel for it. I want to thank the College Football Playoff for allowing me the opportunity to do so, to not just see a historic time in history, but and this never happened before. We've never had a FBS 12-team playoff in a bracket of this magnitude. In the FCS, they've had a bracket for a while, but in the FCS to do this, to experience it is one thing and to see it, but to physically be there and be round by round seeing this thing come together was really something that's been one of the greatest honors of my life, and really incredible and amazing. And so I hope that as they kind of work out the kinks and figure out the things they like and the things that they don't like, that we can continue to have the majesty of this, because the experience of it kind of leaves me at a loss for words on what this was like going through it and how much fun it was. And it was just a different feel. Honestly, it was a truly unique and special feel to it. I've been to the NCAA tournament. I've seen the basketball side of things. It didn't feel like that. It felt different. It's its own entity. It's got its own kind of breath to it. And I look forward to see what's going to come. And speaking of seeing what's going to come, you and I experienced something. And Dave, you were the person that I thought of when this happened. When I saw the Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade, I said, well, I wanted to have Dave back on the show. I wanted to, as soon as football was done for me in the College Football Playoff National Championship, I was like, all right, well, Dave and I are ripe for a conversation. And then this happened. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to get Dave back on the show and work out some point in the next couple of weeks. Like, I need Dave as close to Monday as I can possibly have. So I appreciate you doing this. What were your thoughts and your reaction? Allegedly, these superstar guys who are supposed to have some maybe pull or say within their franchise didn't know. Luka didn't know. LeBron didn't know. So bring me into your thoughts on something that shook their world, shook the Mavs, shook the Lakers, shook the NBA, and to a lot of us fans here, left us scratching our heads saying, did the Dallas Mavericks owe the Lakers a favor? I'd love to get your thoughts.
Well, I mean, it's really something that, like, I don't recall ever seeing, like, something of this magnitude in my lifetime. It's like really unique in that you see two players of that caliber traded for each other in season. Two teams that are right in the thick of the playoff race, and I mean, Dallas was a finalist, and the Lakers, as long as LeBron is there, are in win now mode. It's really like kind of a one of a kind thing that's happened in that deal, and the fact that nothing got out and they were able to keep it under wraps, even from the players and the agents. There wasn't a whiff of a rumor out there in anything that you read. As far as Luka was on the market or AD was on the market, there was no conversation of that whatsoever. I think it's the kind of move on the Dallas side that they probably didn't get full market value for Luka.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of move where pairing AD with Kyrie and the other parts they have there, if that leads to a championship or two, their front office is going to look genius. But it's the kind of move that anything short of that, it's the kind of move that gets you fired. So,
yeah.
It's a real roll of the dice on the Dallas side. It's a bit more. It's somewhat of a roll of the dice on the Lakers side. The Lakers had a lot of incentive to keep the deal quiet, because as long as there was no discussion out there, there was nobody out there that was going to put up a better package for Dallas. So from the Lakers standpoint, and it's really interesting because the Lakers have been playing really well the last couple of weeks. So you take Davis out of that mix. Most of the concerns with the Lakers came on defensive end of the floor, and then you take away a guy like Davis, who's versatile and rim protector and whatnot. So it almost makes you think there might be another deal in the works on the Lakers side to kind of shore things up defensively. But for them, it's more of a long-term proposition, because now, you got Luka, who's arguably one of the top 5 players in the world, and he's 25 years old. He's a guy that now he's set up to be the face of your franchise post LeBron. And the Lakers have always been like a star-driven franchise. Shaq, Kobe, going all the way back to Jerry West and Wilt and whatnot. So the Lakers have their centerpiece in place. The only way this is turns out to blow up for the Lakers is if something goes sour with Luka and they can't re-sign him long-term when his contract expires after next year. If Luka were to end up walking for whatever reason, then it really blew up on the Lakers. But I think it's highly unlikely that's going to be the case. You got to believe that Luka will re-up there long-term, and he'll become the face of that franchise as LeBron rides off into the sunset.
Yeah, and I love the breakdown that you give, and Dave, I know that you're a humble guy, but to me, when I need to know something about the NBA or I need to break down the NBA, they say if you don't know something or if you need to know something better, surround yourself with people smarter than you, and you give me that poetry in motion when it comes to this stuff and breaking it down. Honestly, I feel like you should be an agent at some point. I feel like you should be the one working and brokering these deals. I know you've been coaching for a while, but do you have any interest being a liaison, an agent, or working in this world of the wheeling and dealing of the NBA Is that something you'd ever want to do, or even in the NIL space with college? Have you ever thought of that?
Uh, haven't really thought of it. Like the NBA stuff fascinates me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's way more in the weeds than we're talking about, and way more in the weeds than I don't really know about in terms of like, that's why you have to pull in a team like Utah to make it work with the complexities of the cap and everything. I think you have to operate in that world. You have to really live in that world. So I mean, say yeah, it would be fun and everything to work in that space and work in that world. But like guys like you and me are way too far outside of that world right now to really be able to navigate that, in a real world, practical, make things happen way. The NIL space, like I have my own, I mean, we could do another show on this. I really think it's all changed the landscape of college athletics, and
100%.
Between the NIL, the transfer portal, and now the settlement with the NCAA. And that's got a way of having ripple effects all the way through college athletics down to, level we're at in Division III. I don't, honestly, I have my own feelings about, saw Leonard Hamilton step down this week. I think that it has really changed the character of college athletics from where it's about player development, personal development, to being very transactional. And I think it's personally, I think it's how do I want to put this? It's taken away a little bit of what makes college athletics special, especially at the major college level, because it's really it's become professional athletics with everybody on a year-to-year contract, where the cliche always had been for years about how college athletes play for the front of the jersey and pros play for the name on the back, and it's really,
yeah,
especially in recent years, it's really almost completely reversed that, to where you see pro guys, like the elite pro guys, taking the less than max value to be able to add another player so the team can win, versus college guys, it's year to year and transactional. It really has been at the major college level, and a little bit of that mindset certainly filters all the way through college athletics.
Yeah, and I mean, you made mention of it. Leonard Hamilton stating that he's going to step down after this season, which is something that you don't ever like seeing, right? If I'm on a team and I'm playing for this coach, and we're playing for seeding in the ACC, we're playing for the hopes of getting into the NCAA tournament, we're trying to make moves and do different things, and I see, well, no matter what happens, my coach is done after this year. Well, I mean, these guys jump in the portal mid-season. So, I mean, to see something like this happen, he could have some guys that are like, you know what, coach? I don't want to play for you. I don't want to go, I don't want to ride out the rest of the season. I'm going to keep my body good. I'm going to stay healthy. I'm going to go ahead and prop myself on the bench here. I'm going to continue to collect whatever I need to collect, to do whatever I need to do, but I'm going to throw myself into the portal and find my way to another home. He's 76 years old. He's been with Florida State for over 2 decades. He was the longest tenured coach in the ACC, because Coach K has retired of Duke, Roy Williams retired of North Carolina, Jim Boeheim retired of Syracuse. We saw Tony Bennett retire of Virginia. So now we're losing yet another person. So that leaves Brad Brownell as the longest tenured coach in the ACC, him with the Clemson Tigers. So Leonard Hamilton stepping down. We're just talking ACC. When we talk Tony Bennett, Coach K, Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim, Leonard Hamilton, during the season this season, Miami Hurricanes head coach who seems dedicated to his team. I've interviewed him over many years. I have a lot of respect for him. Jim Larrañaga to step down during the season, that was a weird move that I saw Miami have. So, I mean, you and I believe we've talked about this. I know I've definitely spoken about this on the show, but I don't think we can sit here and say maybe NIL, maybe the transfer portal, maybe realignment, maybe all this money and people not caring about building a program and guys not being patient to come up and wait their turn and work to get themselves on the court, that we're living in a world of this me and money and taking care of myself and making sure that I'm good, and we're losing all of these coaches. I mean, you look at Jay Wright, Villanova, 61 years old. He was named Coach of the Decade. He had 2 recent championships nationally. So as we look around the NCAA in Division I men's basketball, like I said, there's names that we can name like a Jay Wright outside of the conference, but inside of the ACC alone, Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse, Miami, Florida State, all of Virginia, all affected by this. And we're talking about national contender Duke, national contender North Carolina, national contender Virginia. We're talking about a Florida State team that's had a lot of success and been at the top of the ACC in recent history more than once, pushing the ACC. We're talking about Miami, who just made history within the last couple seasons in the NCAA tournament. And we're talking about Syracuse and all the success that they had with Jim Boeheim, over 1,100 wins. These aren't just any old coach. The ACC alone, to me, is a litmus test of this is where we're at. The Roy Williams, I mean, if one guy leaves and you're like, okay, he was older, he just kind of wanted to ride off into the sunset. But when you see all of these coaches that have been part of the fabric of NCAA basketball across the entire country, and you just look simply at the ACC and say, all of these names, Leonard Hamilton, Jim Larinaga, Jim Boeheim, Coach K, Roy Williams, Tony Bennett, within one conference. I think if we just looked at the ACC is showing you that what has changed in NCAA athletics has pushed out the Hall of Fame coaches. And that's probably the saddest part of this whole thing for me when I look at basketball.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it's no coincidence that the guys we're talking about, it's all, the longtime, well-established, well-respected kind of are what they are coaches. And I think, when you get to that point, when you're a Boeheim or a Leonard Hamilton or, you can look at Saban in football or whatever.
Yeah.
I think those guys, they're all at the age and the point of their career. It would be kind of a seismic shift in how they do business. And, I don't think it's appealing to them at that point of their career to, kind of make that adjustment. I think that, that's why, I think the younger generation of coaches, that next generation of coaches, they're young enough. So, if they're going to pursue college basketball, they're going to have to approach it from that direction. I think that, college athletics has gone from most, if not all of the guys you mentioned, and most of the people that are, long time in college athletics, my age, a little younger than my age, older than me, the Boeheims of the world when they're getting into their 70s, or Leonard Hamilton or whatnot. I think at their heart, probably view themselves as teachers and developers of players, developers of young people. And I think that, that's kind of what college coaching had always been. And I think, we have moved, and between NIL, the court cases, the transfer portal, the COVID exceptions, I think, all those things have been accelerated at such a rapid pace. And now I think college athletics it's become this a little bit at all levels, but especially at the power conference, major college football, major college basketball, where the money is in college athletics. It's shifted from where personal development and player development, kind of that teacher role, is not so important anymore. And it's all about the keys to winning now. It's all about player evaluation and player acquisition, I guess. And then to the point where you have to re-recruit your own players on an annual basis to get them to stay.
Yeah.
So, so I think that coaches now, this next generation of coaches that kind of comes up in that environment, to them that's how you do business, versus the veteran coaches that that we had talked about throughout the ACC and throughout college athletics, college basketball, college football. I think it's a completely foreign world to those guys, and they're at the point in their careers where it's like starting over essentially, and I think that's why you see so many of them stepping away, because they're not not at the point in their lives and their careers where they're really comfortable doing that.
Yeah, you brought up a great point. I mean, it's a regime. It's a regime change, and these coaches that have their philosophies that have had their philosophy. I mean, you look at Boeheim and his age at the time that he was like, all right. I mean, you think about these guys are in their 70s. They've been coaching for decades, and they're being asked to not develop players anymore, to essentially recruit every year, and then, like you said, re-recruit their guys, which I've talked about on the show numerous times, re-recruit their roster, find a new roster, bring people in. I mean, Penny Hardaway and I spoke about this, and Penny said last season when we were doing media day, he had talked about the fact that he went for sheer talent. That's what he was doing. He was out at Memphis with the Tigers, and he just went for talent in the portal, and he said it backfired because he just looked for talent. He said, now I got almost an entire team of transfers, but I went beyond the talent. He looked at the character or who these people are off the court, what he's getting beyond they're really good at basketball. And then this team goes and beats UConn. They beat Michigan State. They win an in-season tournament. They do good things. They've been ranked in the top 25. So, he witnessed that. But Penny's doing that, and Penny's in it, right? Shaka Smart's doing what he has to do. We know that, Danny Hurley is doing his work with what he has going on at UConn. There's got Rick Pitino. I mean, Rick Pitino has been the greaseback oil salesman for a long time, and so is John Calipari. So I don't think this is anything new to those guys. So, Rick Pitino being at St. John's, being back in the Big East, and seeing John Calipari still in the SEC, but in a new challenge with Arkansas, goes into Kentucky unranked and beats Kentucky. Big win for him, big moment for him. And so there's people that kind of operated differently, and I feel like from the outside looking in, we kind of thought that. Like Pitino's different. Pitino handles things differently. Calipari handles things differently. And you see these other coaches, like you said, that have grown up within this, and they've spent a lot of time around it. They've been assistants. You look at NIL and everything that's been happening in the transfer portal, 2020 to now, we're in year 6 of that. We're essentially in year 6 of what this looks like. And some coaches haven't coached 6 years as head coaches. They haven't been in the NCAA for 6 years. So to them, this might be all that they know, and this is the system that they run with. The travesty to me, and it really hit home for me, Dave, is when I was at ACC Tip-Off, their media event. I'm down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I interviewed Tony Bennett, and I love talking with Tony Bennett. I always appreciate my time with Tony, and he's always been good to me, always greets you with a smile, always gives you an ample answer, and just seems like a nice guy and a good leader. And I talked to him about this, and my question to him was, and it was eerie in the coming days after I asked this question, but I asked Tony Bennett, I said, the way that you have created your teams, the way that you've worked your system, can you grow, develop, build, and sustain a roster the way that you want to in today's collegiate climate? And I asked him that question, and just a few days later, he stepped down as Virginia head basketball coach and allegedly had mentioned what he was used, what it was, what he did, and what it's become. So to me, it was like, I'm looking at Tony Bennett saying, can this coach do things the way he wants to do it in a climate that doesn't really promote that? And then less than a week later, he's not the coach anymore. And I just sat there, and all I could say to myself was, I asked him that question to think about his philosophy and does it fit in college basketball now? And then the answer, I guess, was no to him. And to me, that's heartbreaking. He's not an old man. You're not an old man. There's so many years left of coaching. I didn't think Tony was going anywhere for the next 8 to 10 years. So when you see this happening, Dave, being a coach for as long as you have, coaching in the NCAA, what does that do to you? I mean, do you have that kind of feeling of, are we seeing the death of the developmental, old school, build a team, earn your keep, I don't have to play my freshman? Is that dead? Is it gone?
Seems to be heading in that direction. the one major college coach that's like seems to be swimming upstream with that is now getting criticized for like trying to be, step back into college football is Dabo Swinney, right?
Yeah.
Swinney's like the one guy who, um, and he started getting all kinds of heat about, well, you can't compete for a national title by doing it that way. He's the one guy who hasn't gone all in the transfer portal, kind of in major college football, major college basketball, and he's still got his team at a high level,
Yeah.
but he gets a little bit of heat now that he never would have got. That's why I respect Swinney a lot. I think he's trying to still be about like player development and roster development and in growing your players, but it's getting harder and harder to do that.
Yeah.
Even like Matt Langle at Colgate, who's a friend and everything, stepping back in college basketball, one of the reasons Colgate was able to sustain these last few years and compete at a high level and challenge, the major college teams is like they never lost guys to the portal. Like their roster stayed consistent all the way through. And now this year, all of a sudden, he lost his best guard in the transfer portal, and so now they're, even a school like Colgate that's high on the academic scale, is starting to get hit by that. And I think that we're, back to your original point, I think that we are seeing kind of the death of college athletics the way we knew it, as far as you come in as a freshman, you continue to develop, and you excel as a senior, or you excel, at the highest level when you go to the NBA or the NFL. Now it's become, like I said, very transactional, and it's year to year.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where, like, if you're we saw it at our level in Division III, like the rookie of the year in our conference a year ago, went in the transfer portal, and because he thought he could play at a higher level. One of the better seniors in our conference went to some exposure thing in the spring, and all of a sudden he's in the portal because people were telling him, "Oh, you can play higher, you can play higher," and he ended up back at the same school in our conference this year, and he's having a great year. But so it's like it's becoming at every level of college athletics. If I talked to Zach Thompson, who's one of my former players down at he's a Division II school in Maryland, Frostburg, doing a great job. But he talked about it where he's had to shift his thinking to more of a taking transfers, junior college guys, and year-to-year thing. He says because what happens at every level, whether it's Division III, Division II, low Division I, mid Division I, like if you get a guy that's a freshman and he's like the best freshman in your conference or an all conference player, the next year that kid's gone. He's like looking to play higher, and he's getting, the kid at the mid major is getting grabbed up by the power conference team. Like you'll talk to Division I guys and say, "Oh, you should be excited. You got a good freshman class." Yeah, we're excited, but none of those guys are going to stay. So I mean, it's really changed the fabric of college athletics from what it was, and it's just a new world we live in. And so I think that guys who have been in it a while are, we as people usually are resistant to being creatures of change anyways. And I think it's such a seismic change that, that we see established coaches saying, I don't know if I'm going to be happy like operating in that world, versus the younger guys who kind of figure it out. And like you said, a lot of these guys, like that's the only world they know is the world of NIL and the transfer portal and the year-to-year movement and everything.
Yeah, and like I said, with guys like Rick Pitino and John Calipari, people would joke that they kind of lived in this world before this world existed. So to them, it's still continuing. I feel like Pitino's going to coach for another 5-6 years. That man just keeps on going. He, to me, is like Al Pacino. It's no matter how old he gets, you put the right movie in front of him, he's going to make that movie, and he's going to go out there and do it. I'm not surprised he's at St. John's. I think it's a perfect fit for him and his energy and the way that he is, the Big East. You could still foul in the Big East. You could still play physically in the Big East. So, I respect the Big East for a lot of things that they're doing right now. Dave, you're at Vermont State University, Linden, and with this Hornets men's basketball team, you just talked about the fact that Division three is not immune to this. JUCO, where you coached before, is not immune to this. Division two is not immune to this. Mid-majors and power is not immune to this. How has it affected your program when you look at who you have at Vermont State Linden? When you're recruiting, when you're putting your team together, are you looking JUCO because you know that world so well and you know there's a lot of hidden talent there? So are you looking JUCO? Are you looking for transfers? Are you looking for people that are, maybe in a situation where they have the money, they have the means, because D3 you don't have scholarships, but maybe they're playing at a D2 school, they're not getting the playing time, their coach left, promises unkept. How are you assembling your team and being proactive? Because like you said, I mean, if you have a really good player on your team, you got a star player on your team, they lead your conference, then you could lose that player. And you, Jason Leone at Oswego State, Jason's had a ton of success nationally. So I can imagine with everything going on that it wouldn't be crazy for somebody to look at one of his kids. So how do you attack it and how do you assemble your roster? Because you are one of those old school coaches. You were one of those build a team, earn their keep. Now you had to build it faster because you were at a junior college. So you had to build a team in 2 seasons and try and have a lot of success in a short amount of time before you had to build again. But how are you handling this with Vermont State? Do you look at the portal? Do you eye that? Are you still, just prep school, high school, junior college? How do you put your roster together?
Well, like you said, like I'm one of these old cranky guys, like some of the people we're talking about. But I'm still about, like, our program's about, like, trying to, overwhelmingly we're focused on high school guys. I do think that it's harder for high school kids to earn roster spots the higher up you go, because you look at, like, the major college schools.
Yeah.
You might have 6 or 7 guys in your recruiting class for your basketball program. You got maybe 1 freshman. You got the exceptional guys, the Cooper Flags of the world and all that. But by and large, teams are using the portal and transfers to stock their rosters these days.
Yep.
And so that has the effect of squeezing high school kids a little bit. So, like, we're still about, primarily trying to recruit high school kids and develop kids. Understand that the guys we're recruiting are not going to the NBA, which is true of most guys at the Division III, Division II. At best case, guys at our level, maybe you got an opportunity to play like minor league in the States or go overseas and make a little bit of money playing basketball when you graduate. So at our level, we're still about, like, really trying to recruit high school kids and develop them as people and as players, and the degree is the important thing. That said, this year we brought in more transfers than we typically would. That was more of a function of we graduated a larger number than usual last spring. Yeah. So, when we brought transfers in, typically they've been guys that we know about, like that either, they went somewhere and it didn't work out and that we had recruited previously, or, like most of the transfer guys we've brought in since I've been here, we've had some connection with. We brought in a guy, my first transfer guy here was a guy who went and played football somewhere for a year, and then he decided he wanted to play basketball, came back. We got a guy who came in this year that his brother had played for us, and it wasn't working out where he was at. So, so I'm still at the mindset that's, I guess that's why I like Swinney so much, because they're about, still about developing people and developing players and whatnot. But it does answer your question how it changes your recruiting. You kind of have to have, like, a bigger pool to prepare yourself for the possibility that some of your guys are going to leave. Like the conversation I have with Zach Thompson, we talked about the thing that makes it tough with freshmen is sometimes at whatever level you're at, short of the high level power conference schools, is like if you bring in a freshman, he's not quite ready to play, but you see something in the kid and they're going to be a good player, but they're not quite ready to play. Yeah. And you work with that kid for a year or two and develop him, and now, sophomore year, junior year, now that kid's just about ready to start carving out a role for you and helping your team. that's just about the time that they're starting to get annoyed that they haven't played, and and they end up going somewhere and transferring. So you just spent a year or two developing a player for somebody else, and that is, I think, more of also another one of the challenges of coaching in the current environment, because there used to be, if you go back 10, 20 years, there was almost a stigma when a kid said he was going to transfer. Like, there must be baggage, must be something with that kid, must be a problem. Now it's kind of, the pendulum has swung like fully in the other direction, where like in the world that young people live in, there's almost a little bit of status involved in being able to go on your social media and say, thank you to my coaches at Syracuse University. I've loved the experience, but that said, I'm entering my name in the transfer portal. There's almost become some status involved in that about, going in the portal and trying to play up a level or get to a level where you can play more or something like that. So it does change how you look at things, and I think your roster tends to be more fluid later into the recruiting, like later into the summer, because of some of those things. If you have a couple guys that leave unexpectedly, now you're trying to replace them late and everything, and I think that impacts like Division III, Division II, like NAIA schools, small college division, like low major, mid major Division Ones. I think that's one of the things you see is like your roster is a little bit more fluid, much longer into the cycle.
Yeah, I mean I think people's mentality of it doesn't affect D2, it doesn't affect D3. It does. I mean, I remember Bob Beretta when he was leading athletics at Moyne. He said to me, when Oklahoma and Texas said that they were leaving the Big 12 for the SEC, he said there are ripple effects that we will feel here at Moyne, and they did. I mean, they ultimately went Division I. So and they were looking at everything: stay 2, go to D3, go to D1. What makes sense? So, we're living in this world where it's like nothing's safe. And the junior college rule now, with you being a junior college coach for so long, and that's how you and I met when you were at OCC and ran a fantastic program and have a great coaching tree of people under you that played for you that are now coaching and doing awesome things for themselves, and successful guys, good guys. And going back to your time there in junior college, I just had the conversation. I'm continuing to have this conversation this week and I'll have it with Howard Trish as well, Diego Pavia. You got a junior college football player that goes to New Mexico Military Institute. He goes there for 2 years for junior college. Then he transfers, goes to New Mexico State, Division I FBS school. New Mexico State was independent. Now they're part of a conference. Goes to New Mexico State, spends 2 seasons. Well, in your brain, he played 4, so he's done. No, he's not. He goes to Vanderbilt. He plays a 5th year. And then he sues the NCAA and says, you're breaking antitrust laws. You can't do this to junior college players. Junior college players should have more time because you allow 5 years in the NCAA to complete 4 years of eligibility. So if I'm a junior college player and I come into the NCAA, none of those years should count against me because I wasn't in the NCAA yet. So when the NCAA said, hey, if you're in college and you compete, that's a season. Now, Diego Pavia, in this injunction, the case is still pending, but the injunction allows him to prepare, go after NIL money. He could get in the transfer portal again. If he gets this, if it sticks, he gets a 6th year, but he's also asking for a 7th year. So essentially, what he's saying and what this lawsuit is saying is junior college shouldn't count against the NCAA at all. You should be able to play 1 or 2 years of a junior college sport, transfer to an NCAA Division I, II, or III school, and have 4 years of eligibility, 5 years to complete 4, after you play junior college. I'd love to get your thoughts on it, Dave, because you've been a junior college coach. And right now, Diego Pavia is in a place with a judge, Judge Campbell, who has made the statement that the NCAA's argument, quote unquote, falls flat on why they don't do this. So we talk about all this change that's happening in the world. Are we looking at junior college now essentially being prep school? just being an extension of high school, that I can go to high school, then I can go to junior college. I could play 2 seasons. When I'm done with those 2 seasons, and for me, I was younger, so I'd be 19 years old. And at 19, I go 2 years of college ball under my belt. I go to a 4-year school. And now I can play basketball until I'm 23, 24 years old. In his case, he's right around that age right now. I believe he's 24. So what's your take on the Diego Pavia lawsuit? And if this passes, setting a precedent that junior college, a year or 2, will not affect your 4 years in the NCAA?
If Pavia and if the young man prevails ultimately in court, it's going to have implications way beyond just junior college too.
Yeah.
The NCAA and the NCAA's track record is they lose in court. Like they have lost virtually every case that has pertained to eligibility that's come to court. So what the NCAA did in response to this, because there's a little bit of misunderstanding, the NCAA extended eligibility for any athlete that is exhausting their eligibility this year, 24-25, that used any of that at a non-NCAA school, which not only includes junior college, it includes NAIA schools, USCAA schools, whatever. They've extended their eligibility through 25-26.
Yeah.
The reason the NCAA did that is because if they didn't, every athlete that's in similar circumstances that used time in a junior college would be hauling them into court the same way Pavia did to get the same injunction. So they did that kind of preemptively to prevent that. But getting back to this case, now as I understand it and reading the crux of the argument that he made and that the judge sided with is that an experience at a junior college is not equivalent to an experience as a student athlete at an SEC school, at a Division I NCAA school, which is just taking that argument, that's certainly true, right? Yeah. It's not the same playing junior college football as playing in the SEC at Vanderbilt. But where it's going to head if the NCAA loses this case is that you can make the same argument that playing college basketball at Moyne is not the same as playing college basketball at Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Or playing college basketball at Oswego State is not the same as playing college basketball at a Division I school. So I think that if the NCAA loses this case, I think where it's going to end up eventually, absent some kind of, the only way to put the brakes to, I think the one way that the NCAA can put the brakes to these eligibility challenges and kind of rein it in a little bit would be for them to start, basically for athletes to collectively bargain these things with the NCAA, which would require them to kind of recognize athletes as employees, which the NCAA is not really inclined to do. But I think that every time they lose in court, it chips away a little bit at the NCAA's control. And, I think we're still headed towards a world where the power conferences break off totally from the NCAA, which will, really, that will ripple effect through college athletics, because Division III gets very little money from the NCAA, but they do get enough that, it funds the championships and it funds, same with Division II and whatnot. I think that if the power conferences break away and they lose the football and basketball playoff money, I think then you're going to see a fundamentally different model throughout college athletics. But getting back to the transfer thing, that's going to be a really, really important and really interesting case to follow, because if the NCAA wins ultimately, then things will be status quo, and you play a year in college, you played a year in college, and you use up 1 of your 4. If the student athlete, if he wins this case, then I think you're going to see the floodgates open, not only with junior college not counting towards eligibility, but there'll be challenges within each level of the NCAA. That it's not the same experience being at a Division II or Division III school as it is being at a Division I school. It's not the same experience being at a low major that it is being at an SEC or an ACC school. So this case really, I mean, there have been several really big cases that have gone to court in recent years. I think this one is as significant as any in terms of if the NCAA loses, I think we're heading towards a world where, you're in college, you can play. It doesn't matter. You can spend your whole 20 years playing in college. I could see that kind of landscape eventually unfolding if the NCAA loses this case.
Yeah, I mean, you can essentially become a career student athlete.
Exactly.
You can make money, you can do your thing. And I made that prediction, and I believe, Dave, you and I have talked about this, that almost 7 years ago, I made the prediction on my show and stated on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I said, if the NCAA continues to function the way that it's functioning, 5 to 10 years from now, it will either not exist or it will look vastly different than what we know it to be. That prediction almost 7 years ago has come true to the nth degree, farther than I could have ever even imagined in my wildest dreams of what they've become. Unfortunately, the NCAA did not heed the warning, did not see what was coming. They functioned in, we could do whatever we want to do. Who's going to stop us? The players, the coaches, the schools? Well, now, yeah, they are. And when you spit into the wind, I tell people this all the time, you might spit into the wind 20 times, 30 times, 80 times, nothing happens. But that 81st time you spit into the wind, it finally spins back around. And I think the NCAA has been spitting into the wind for a really long time. They've made a lot of money over people that helped them make it, that got nothing. And they punished some schools. They didn't punish others. They held some accountable. They let some others skate by. And the NCAA has just kind of done what it wanted to do, what it wants to do, the way it wants to do it. They got this rule book that's constantly changing. It's insane. I could not buy, as a reporter, as a journalist, as a broadcaster, I could not buy my friend a sandwich if we had lunch together if he was playing college anything. And now he can go to that sandwich shop and ask for $1 million. It's crazy. So none of it makes sense. And as I've written in my article, and I'll share that article again about the NCAA, I speak about the fact that if you don't put a fence around the horses, you're going to be chasing them down every single night. And the NCAA has no one to blame but themselves for where they stand right now. But if they cannot make a stand with this, then yeah, you're right, Dave. You can become a career student athlete. You can make money. And now all of a sudden the percentages change. Only 4% of student athletes ever go on to play a professional sport and make money. Well, if they could stay in college and get NIL money, they don't have to be a pro athlete. They can just stay here, play field hockey for 7 years, play basketball for 8 years. We had a college football player this season that was in his 9th year of eligibility. If that guy's not a doctor by now, well, then they need to investigate if he's been going to class at all. Because 9 years, dude should be a doctor and a doctor. He should be a doctorate on top of being a doctorate. I've joked with players that are in for 6 years, 7 years. I said, you better get your doctorate. You better get a master's and then something beyond your master's. You better have 3 degrees when you leave this school. I remember Stetson Bennett joked about being at Georgia for 5 years and still didn't have a bachelor's degree. I wouldn't have joked about that. That's an immediate investigation. But it didn't happen. Or if it did, we didn't know about it. So we're professionalizing amateurism, getting back to the professional side of things, and to kind of button this whole thing up all the way around. And I always love our conversations because I never know where they're going to go, but I always feel like I learned something, and I always feel like the people watching and listening get a good show because of the back and forth and because you and I are real and there's no sugarcoating of what we see, what we feel, what we understand. You love the sport. I love the sport. You love sports in general. So do I. But beyond that, you love the kids and I love the kids. That's a massive reason why I do what I do. So it's important to pay attention to this. Well, these guys who are not kids, I guess you could say Luka's kind of still a kid, young guy, mid-20s. But this is what the trade ended up being in the NBA. We've talked about the NCAA and how it's essentially become free agency and you could do whatever you want, whenever you want. There's more parameters in professional sports than there is in collegiate athletics. These contracts, typically you have to have some type of abiding by it. There are players that hold places hostage, though. They'll sign a 5-year deal and a year in will demand to be traded, and then the team will meet their demands when the team could just turn around and say, you're going to sit on that bench for 4 years and you can deal with it or you can play. But when your contract's done, your contract's done. So what happened here in the NBA, 3 teams, Lakers, Mavericks, and Jazz, and the Lakers received Luka Doncic as well as Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris from the Mavericks. And this trade happened Sunday morning, this past Sunday, the beginning of February 2nd. And then Dallas Mavericks acquired Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' first-round pick. However, that is not until 2029. So like you said, this is a move that's either going to work or it's a move that could get a lot of people fired because they might not even see that 2029 first-round draft pick. The Jazz received Jalen Hood Schifino, the LA Clippers 2025 second-round pick, and the Mavericks 2025 second-round selection. So we know the Jazz are going to get 2 extra picks in the second round, don't have to guarantee money there, and they get a player for this. So that's what the ultimate totality of this looks like. You said there might be more things to come. There was something that I saw up on the screen yesterday, and I understand rumors are rumors, but there was the mention of Luka Doncic is with the Lakers now, but now Steph Curry wants Kevin Durant and LeBron James. So Luka goes to LA and then LeBron leaves LA. There's all these things going on. We hear rumors all the time. We see some things come to fruition. We see other things just somebody throwing something at the wall, getting clicks on their website. What do you think is a potential next move? Is there anything massive that you could see happening in the NBA?
Well, I think the one guy that's out there that, it's kind of out there that he's looking to move and they're looking to move him is Jimmy Butler. I think that, Jimmy Butler's, he's kind of a mercurial guy. He's a guy who's had a short shelf life almost everywhere he's been, and it seems like that's the case in Miami. So,
yeah.
I think there's talk that Phoenix would like to bring him in. He'd like to go to Phoenix. But, and that's where maybe Durant gets in, ends up being part of the picture. And this is why this Lakers deal with Dallas is so fascinating. With the complexities now of the collective bargaining and the tiers, the different aprons of the salary cap, it's really hard to make a deal that fits within those parameters that involves players like that. To move a guy like Durant. That's why you see a team like Utah getting involved in the Lakers-Mavs deal, because they have to, they do what bad teams typically do is they'll take on a contract and get a couple of draft picks as a reward to try to stockpile assets because they're not good enough to compete right now. So to make a deal work between Miami and Phoenix, for Jimmy Butler certainly is going to involve other guys. Same way if Phoenix moved on from Durant to the Warriors. The really one of the things that sent shockwaves through the NBA with the Luka and Davis deal is, and we talked about it right at the start, where recent history, the star player, the franchise player has been looped into these kind of conversations, and this is a deal where that apparently didn't happen on any front. So I think now there's like a little bit of feeling around the NBA that if Luka Doncic can be traded, unless you're Bradley Beal or LeBron, who are the only 2 guys that have no trades in their contract, unless you're one of those guys, nobody's untouchable now in the NBA, and pretty much anybody can be moved for the right price. So it's really, really a fascinating time because the NBA trade deadline, for years was was really a tame thing. It wasn't like Major League Baseball. You see guys move every year, like rented players at the trade deadline. That really hadn't happened in the NBA very much historically until recent years, and this Luka AD deal is like this next level of that. So I think it'll be an interesting next few hours, next few days up to the trade deadline. if Luka can go, nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah. And, I mean, we shall see. I mean, if Luka goes to L.A. and becomes the face of the Lakers and LeBron leaves and is no longer the face of the Lakers and then he shows up somewhere else, I mean, this round robin, but like you said, I mean, if nobody is safe and these people that think they might have the keys to their team and they're the unofficial general manager and then they found out in this deal that they are not, well, anything can happen. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen. I would love for my Raptors to win. That'd be nice. So with that being said, Dave Pasiak and your Sixers as well, always hoping the best for you except for when you play Toronto. So Dave Pasiak speaking with me on a lot of different things here in the basketball world. Appreciate you as always. Vermont State, Linden, check out the Hornets, the men's basketball program, and continue to support them and show them love throughout this season and beyond that. Dave, thank you for the work that you're doing with kids as always. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the wonderful state of Vermont as well as, always being a proud Central and upstate New Yorker, because I know you spend a lot of time here throughout the year as well, and you're always doing good things. You've been there for me every time I've asked you to be, and loyalty and consistency mean a lot to me. So I want to say thank you for that. I appreciate you as always, and I hope you stay safe, and I hope you stay warm, because they're telling me that there may be another storm or two here in the winter coming up, so please stay safe.
Yeah, appreciate it, Dan. It was great to talk to you. We took the conversation in a lot of different directions. So fun as always, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, and at least we know that if there's any moves being made, we'll be more privy to it than seeing it on the bottom line. So thank you, Dave. I look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, take care, Dan.
Take care. Dave Pasiak here. The conversation always flies by with Dave because we always have fun, and it's always great. And then I look at the clock, and I'm like, I want to keep Dave on here for 2 more hours and have a conversation, laugh, have a good time, speak about life. Always appreciate having Mr. Pasiak. We're going to take a step aside, and we're already wrapping up today's show, believe it or not, right after this, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find GG Cards and Breaks open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Hockey, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, as well as Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and all the supplies you need for every single card collector that's been doing it for years and the ones that just started to do it. GG Cards and Breaks is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop, helping you to feel like a big kid every single day. They support our community. Let's support them at GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank you for tuning in on youtube.com and facebook.com, both / wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, all around the world, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Podchaser.com, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and follow us and subscribe to us for free on all of these channels and more. And, of course, many thanks to Brooklyn Pickle down in North Carolina, right by the Pinehurst Golf Course, is known by the PGA and known by golf fans all over the world, I would imagine. You can find Brooklyn Pickle, 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And to our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel, DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world, GG Cards and Breaks, Mother's Cupboard, Avicoli, Servomation, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A, Cicero, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, and the Binghamton University Bearcats. Find the Dolphins every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time exclusively here on Wake Up Call, the Bearcats every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can find on youtube.com / wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell, our Lemoyne playlist, our BSC Syracuse playlist, and our Binghamton playlist. Each of these schools on wakeupcalldt.com on the homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, as well as Syracuse.bscbobcats.com and BinghamtonBearcats.com. With that being said, here on the show, thank you to my incredible guests, Alyssa, Elaina, and Dom, coming to me from Lemoyne Softball. Thank you to Tracy Roman for setting it up. Thank you to Dave Pasiak. Thank you to you. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, as we always say here on Wake Up Call. God bless, no stress. Do your best. Have a wonderful day.